Welcome to Cellmates.
Oh, welcome to Cellmates, Kate Phillips.
Welcome to you, Dick Ward.
Thank you.
We
very
are
kind.
Yeah, I try.
Aw.
I try my best.
Aw.
Welcome,
You
listeners.
succeed your best. Welcome, listeners.
As well. This is a podcast where we take two animated movies. We compare, contrast, generally throw a Venn diagram of them, and talk about them.
Yeah, those movies are often Disney,
Not always,
often musicals,
but not always.
and often good.
But not always.
Yeah, today we have some interesting stuff. We have, would we describe this as a continuation of a theme?
I would.
What theme
Well,
might that be?
Before we talk about what theme
Oh,
it
we
might
should talk
be,
about what we're drinking.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Dick, what... I feel like I always ask this question.
So, Kate, what are you drinking there?
Well, I'm drinking essentially a spritzer, which I didn't know that's what a highball was. Like just alcohol and a thing that's not alcohol is a highball.
I think a highball is supposed to be a liquor and
Okay.
anything that's not alcohol, like a rum and coke or a
Sure.
whatever. But yeah,
We found that this is called the Kitty Highball. Mm-hmm. It is, red wine, basically red wine and ginger ale, but we made it fancier based on
so
a
it's
recipe we found.
red wine, ginger syrup, and
Lime juice and
lime
soda
juice
water.
and soda water. Lime juice really brings something nice out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick, is there a reason that we might be drinking a not just a highball, but a kitty highball?
Oof. Did we watch Monsters Inc?
Aw,
Yeah.
kitty.
Kitty.
No, Dick. Happy cat meowth.
I'm sorry. Did you say Happy Cat Month?
Happy cat meowth.
Cat Meowth.
Cat meowth.
That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful.
It's a meowth. Mount.
Wow.
Mouthful. Yeah.
Yeah, I said it right.
You did say it right.
Yeah.
I just heard the Pokemon's name, which is already like a pun.
Oh, you were trying to make a further pun on Meowth.
Or I don't know what I was trying to do.
Well, anyway, yes.
Cheers.
It's Meowth month.
No, it's
Cat
cat
meowth.
meowth.
We should have picked an easy. We should have just said Cat month. This is a disaster.
Well, we already had Mouse Month,
Yeah.
Mouse Mouth,
Nope.
Squeak in
No.
August,
Yes.
and months that normally
Is
start
that true? How do you remember that?
because I did the social media posts. I don't
In
know.
August. How do
Yeah.
you remember that?
Because I don't know.
That's amazing.
Okay.
You're impressive.
Thank you. So months that normally start with A, we just replace with some kind of domestic animal theme.
Oh,
Now it's what
we've done it twice. August and April.
So now it's the
Animal
thing we
months. So this is Cat Meowth.
do. Cat meowth.
We have done our first episode of Cat Month. Is it this?
Is this?
This.
I don't. So like many of you, we've lost all sense of day and time.
Yeah.
Because of staying inside.
Yeah, I hope-
because it
I
is
hope-
like the first week of April 2020 as
Yeah.
we record this.
I hope everyone's doing good out there. It's a rough time. Mm-hmm. And also podcast listenership is down.
Do you mean a rough time or like a per time? Like
What?
instead of rough.
There's dogs in these movies too.
That
I
is
could have said
actually
rough.
that is true. There
I'm
are
trying
dogs.
I'm trying to like give a heartfelt message to our audience, and you're just making puns over there.
Torpedoing it, yeah.
What are you, me?
Oh.
Aw. No, but seriously, hope you're doing well. Thank you for continuing to listen, even though you're not on your commute,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is basically when most people listen to podcasts, or like when you just have alone time. But if you live with someone, you don't have any alone time anymore.
No.
You're just around all the time. This is a weird time.
It's a weird time. But
it's a good time to watch some cat movies.
movies filled with kitties.
Movies.
We want to thank our listener Christopher for
Yeah.
this inaugural Cat Meowth installment. Dick, you've got Christopher's. He sent us a message on Facebook.
Yeah.
awesome.
Did we say what movies we're doing? Oh, I'm saying
Not
it right
yet.
now.
Yes, you're. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So Christopher sent us a message that was fairly long, followed by, "Oh, geez, this message looks so long. Sorry."
You put it in a column and it just looks like a
just
lot of
looks so
text,
long.
but it's not them.
No, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And he has some great suggestions. The one we decided to grab out of this is this. He says, there are a few films I've thought about suggesting for a while. I grew up thinking Cats Don't Dance was a childhood favorite of everyone, but later found out that not many people had even heard of it. So Cats Don't Dance. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure as far as an appropriate pairing, but you mentioned Oliver and Company last episode. Now, it's been a minute since I've seen it, but both movies do involve a cat, and Oliver's journey also involves leaving a less than great situation to find his happiness. Mm-hmm. And the real treasure is in the friendships they make along the way.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion, and we had not heard of Cats. I had not heard of Cats Don't Dance.
I feel like maybe I had seen it in another, like, a couple of our listeners has sent us like a long list of some suggestions, and I think maybe it was in Rachel's or something.
But it was definitely not on my radar.
I did not know about this movie when it was released.
Not one bit.
No.
Yeah.
So we're doing Cats Don't Dance and Oliver and Company. Thank you, Christopher, for that great suggestion and for kicking off Cat Meowth with a meow.
I'm confused. Mm-hmm. We're doing one animated movie and then 2 stage musicals? We're doing Cats Don't Dance and Oliver and Company?
How long were you saving that?
Not at all. That just hit.
Well, you'd have to have an exclamation mark in the middle of the title. Because technically Oliver is Oliver!
Oliver!
Like Oklahoma!
Oklahoma! Oliver!
It has the punctuation in the
Why
title.
don't more musicals have punctuation?
Well, I mean, we saw Oklahoma recently.
It was fine.
Yeah, but that exclamation maybe doesn't belong in there.
I don't
It's a
know.
little darker than you think it is.
That's why I was exclaiming.
So,
Also, that dance break.
yeah,
That was a lot.
yeah, and the revival.
Yeah.
So, and Christopher's absolutely right. These are both what I like to call catfish out of water movies.
Wah, wah, wah.
So little cats entering new communities, cities.
Little kitty, big city.
Aw,
Yeah.
there we go.
You're
That's
welcome.
the episode title
Yeah.
right there.
Should have started with
You've
that.
done it. Well, Dick, we didn't decide this before. Oh, I guess let's start talking about Oliver and Company,
Oh my
and then
God.
we'll figure out
Please,
who wants to
let's talk about
summarize
Oliver
it.
and Company.
What's your experience with the movie?
I loved this movie when I was a kid. Like, loved it. Like, I watched this over and over again. I remember seeing... What year did this came out? This is like 88?
This is 87, 88? Yeah.
I remember distinctly seeing, probably not the theatrical trailer, but the Oliver and Company is coming to video trailer. I know I saw like over and over the commercial for that.
88.
Because I was in love with the song, why should I worry? Why should I care? Like I was like big into like oldies when I was a kid.
Was Billy Joel considered an oldie in 1988?
No, but it's kind of like piano rock. It's definitely like his music, I feel, is oftentimes a throwback to like 50s, 60s rock.
Yeah.
So like that was like exactly right for me. And I know I saw this movie a lot because as we watched it, I haven't seen it in maybe 15, 20 years, 30 years, right? But as we watched it, there's scenes where I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen. He's going to open the door farther and he's going to knock this guy off the ledge, like things like that. It was really exciting to relive some of that.
That's fun.
Yeah. What about you?
I did not see this movie when I was little. Like Beauty and the Beast was the first consciousness movie that came out for me. So we skipped it entirely, and I only, I think Streets of Gold was on a sing-along cassette. And that's it. Like, this was my first viewing for this podcast. But a lot of the scenes looked familiar, I think, from commercials and other montages of some sort.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I was under the assumption that because Little Mermaid was this like monster hit that everything before it was like, yeah, it's not their best work.
Right.
And so this was a very pleasant surprise
Yeah.
that it is like a very enjoyable film. It's not
And it
not
also,
a Rescuers.
for me, it held up a lot better than I thought it would. Mm-hmm. I was like worried. I'm like, I haven't seen this forever. Maybe this is terrible. I really enjoyed rewatching it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
You're summarizing this one.
I'm summarizing this one.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good.
Yes. Your phone is in front of you.
It sure is.
If you want to grab the cookie timer up.
The
and
kitty
we'll-
timer.
I'm like the one who normally does puns. And it's
Kitty
weird.
timer is not a pun. I
That-
just added the word kitty to
So that was-
timer, to be fair.
That was kind of my point. If there's a reason I'm usually the one that does the puns.
That's why I don't like
You've
them.
got this like DreamWorks thing going on where you're like, oh, it's the cat phone. It's the kitty.
If we're going to do a theme month, you just got to dig into it however you can. No bad ideas in a brainstorm.
There's so many bad ideas.
No bad ideas in a cat meowth. All right, I'm going to start.
Yeah, and you got 2 minutes
I
to
do.
describe the plot of.
Oliver and a Company.
Okay, so first Oliver and then Company.
Very funny.
Thank you.
All right, Oliver the kitty. We meet him. He's an orphan. He's trying to get sold, but oh no, he doesn't get sold. And oh, he escapes into the streets and oh, he's having a rough time at things until he finds Dodger. And then Dodger teaches him not to worry, Hakuna Matata, because he can like steal stuff. So he does this like hot dog stealing scheme with him. And then Dodger's like, no, I don't need you anymore. And Oliver's like, meow. And so Dodger brings him back home, or he follows him back home, I think. Surprise. But Dodger lives with a bunch of other dogs and a human owner, and they don't really have much money, but they're family, and so they get by. And then Oliver joins their scheme team, and they try to do like a heist together, but then Oliver gets yoinked by Jenny, who's a rich girl who has a driver. The plot goes wrong. Anyway, Oliver is now her cat, and she names him Oliver. That's the first time you hear his name, because don't worry about the first song. And then the other dogs, like the Dodger crew, go to rescue him because they think he's been catnapped. But really, he's like having the time of his life. But there's this other dog, this Bette Midler dog, who's rich and doesn't want him there, and so she tries to get him away. So there's this whole thing, and then the big bad boss, the poor owner's boss, wants to extract some money that he owes, and I don't know anyone's name in this movie outside the dogs and cats. That's okay. So he orchestrates a ransom note. They catnap Oliver back and post a ransom notice for Oliver, and then Jenny comes, but she doesn't have any money. She's little, but her father's like a millionaire, so they want his money, so they just kidnap Jenny instead. And then the cats and dogs work together, and they get her out of there, and the dad doesn't need to pay any money, and Oliver lives with Jenny forever. And like the other dogs seem to be able to come and visit, but they don't really belong to her because they're street pets.
Cool.
The end.
Yeah, I describe that as
Adequate.
Yeah, it is fine.
What is it? Fagin is the guy that owns the dogs, or that hangs out with the poor dogs. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with Oliver the Musical,
No.
and I always think that the Artful Dodger and Fagin are the same character.
No.
And so that confuses me whenever I'm reminded that they're not.
No, the Artful Dodger is, in Newsies terms, the Artful Dodger is Christian Bale.
Yeah, he's like an older orphan.
He's like an older
He's
orphan.
an other orphan.
Yeah. Yeah, but also Oliver the Musical is based on Oliver Twist, the book,
Yeah.
not Gulliver's Travels.
No. There's Oliver in both, but
Thank you. So, yeah, it's the story of an orphan who meets up with a gang, and then ends up getting adopted.
like two times, kind of.
Yeah,
by the same
adopted
guy.
and then stolen and then adopted. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
This was delightful.
Okay, so I want to jump into this bit now because this doesn't really fit in our like Venn diagram section. You mentioned Hakuna Matata. This movie is kind of similar to Lion King structurally, except it skips the first act. It like starts at Hakuna Matata.
It's pretty much the second act of The Lion King,
Right.
with a modified third act.
Were there any other similarities to Lion King that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, so the Why Should I Worry is like, as
That's
a song.
the Billy Joel song.
There are 2 Billy Joel songs. Streets of Gold is also a Billy Joel song, I believe.
Which song is it? Is that the
Every
intro?
boulevard is a miracle mile. Well, take the time.
I will confirm this.
I think because he sings it. He's lead on that. He's lead on both those songs. Yeah, let's confirm. But yeah, so Artful Dodger is like teaching him the ways of the street in, late 80s New York City and how to get by and stuff. And so little Oliver is just kind of following him and keeping up. And it's very similar to Hakuna Matata. What? Streets of Gold is not Billy Joel?
No, it's not even sung by Billy Joel.
He's in it.
It's sung by
the Pointer
Ruth
sister.
Pointer.
Yeah.
That's not Billy Joel.
No, but he's in it. Does Ruth Pointer write it too?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you.
It sounds like it should be a Billy Joel song.
Oh.
All right. Well, there's one Billy Joel song and one that sounds like a Billy Joel song in this movie.
There's a couple that sound like Billy Joel songs. Yeah.
But yeah, it's very like similar, right? Why should I worry? It means no
Right.
worries, that kind of thing. But also what's neat about this movie, it's the same group of animators who end up doing the majority of the Renaissance movies, starting with Little Mermaid the next year. And so it makes sense that Oliver would have a lot of similarities to the next cat protagonist, which is Simba. And the cub Simba and Oliver are animated by the same guy, Mark Henn, who did a bunch of Disney princesses too during the Renaissance. And so it was really cool. It was the same kind of thing, seeing like Coda in Brother Bear, which we talked on a previous episode, that immediately I felt empathy with Oliver and found him a much more likable character than I might have otherwise, but he's pretty appealing just because I immediately recognized Simba in him. Like facial expressions and just, the way he walked. It's very clear that Mark Henn reused, it makes sense. They're both cats.
There's a couple of moments where it's like, oh, that is a Simba animation. Neat.
Yeah. Oh. So that certainly helped me fall in love with Oliver, the character, very quickly.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Meow.
Meow. So, Cats Don't Dance, you said, was not on your radar.
At all.
As a child or an adult.
Yeah, like I feel like I'd heard the name, but that's as far as I got with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because it's released in 1997, which is same year as Hercules. So you're ending the Disney Renaissance, but we didn't know that yet.
Right.
Right. And you've got like Anastasia is around the same time too. So this is the time where some competitors are kind of chipping at least at, if not away at Disney, they're kind of chipping another part of the market.
Right.
But this movie didn't really do that. What was this the one that we were looking at that made like $3 million?
I think it made like a ridiculously, 3.6 on a $32 million budget.
And this is like Disney was disappointed with Hercules for making like $200 million.
Yeah, I mean, both of these movies, I think Oliver and Company underperformed too, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not considered the start of the Renaissance because it was not Little Mermaid.
And they released it the same day as Land Before Time. So like that's
right? Land Before Time won the box office war.
And that's eating into your profit. Even if it didn't, that's eating into your profits.
Yeah.
So Cats Don't Dance did not do well at all.
No.
And so it's not a surprise that it was less remembered. It's also interestingly available for rent on all the digital services, but only in standard definition. Mm-hmm. You can't get a high def rental.
Yeah.
Which is always a little bit of a bummer because I like seeing the animation all like crisp and clean. But
it's not Warner Brothers, but kind of distributed by it.
Yeah.
Turner Feature Animation, distributed by Warner Brothers. So it has more of that feel in the animation.
Right.
So I wonder if just visually it didn't look like as much of a theatrical release at the time. I
Yeah.
don't know what the marketing, clearly not anything. But yeah, so good on Christopher for finding this movie
Yeah.
as a child, because that's hard.
And I just want to say that I really wanted to turn this into a trilogy of movies, because Bette Midler is in Oliver and Company.
She is.
Kathy Najimy
Yeah.
is in Cats Don't Dance.
as the hippo.
So if we had a
Oh man,
I was doing so well.
I'm gonna do this.
You do
If we
it.
had a Sarah Jessica Parker movie,
That's what I meant.
we could do a Hocus Pocus trilogy.
Yeah.
But Sarah Jessica Parker has a kind of a horror story of an animation track
Yeah,
record.
she's just been fired from.
been fired from a bunch
She got
of
fired
movies.
from Ants.
Ants
She got
and
fired from
Home on the Range?
Home on the Range.
Yeah,
But she did make it into
something we never heard of.
Invaders from Planet Zortan.
Kind
or
of like a mysterious
it doesn't
blue alien movie.
It doesn't look great. I'm excited to watch it.
So maybe next Cat Meowth we'll find a cat Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh,
Sarah Jessica Parkat.
yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parkour. Oh, that'd be
No,
for
that'd be
Yeti
a Yeti
month. That'd be
movie.
a Yeti movie.
So yeah, so our history with this movie is we've not seen this movie. You did find a little trivia in researching this, yeah?
Oh, is this a good time to talk about
I think
that?
so.
So here's the thing: is we were thinking about a way to bring in Oliver and Company, and one of the things that's really notable about it is that it has a pop soundtrack. I thought it was all Billy Joel, but apparently it's different.
Apparently, it's very little Billy Joel.
Yeah, it's one
Much
Billy
less
Joel
than we
song.
thought.
But it's like a variety of pop artists, which I think is really interesting and, more or less successful.
Why should I worry? Also, not a Billy Joel song, unless those are his writers that usually help him out. His Dan Hartman and
But
Charlie Midnight.
But he sings it.
Charlie Midnight's a neat name. Yeah, he does sing it. That is true.
But that's not the point. The point is, we were trying to find another movie with some pop singers, and while Cats Don't Dance is written by
Randy Newman.
Randy Newman, he does the music.
Go, kitty, go.
Yeah. It was originally a vehicle for one Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was going to be the producer, songwriter, and choreographer.
Or he was going to be involved with the dance
Which-
heavily.
Would have been super cool.
Yes, and
I understand that, but in the I was a big MJ fan when I was a kid, and they did. I had this tape called Moonwalker, and on it they had this claymation section where he danced with a claymation cat, and bunny, and the claymation bunny did his same dance moves, and it was awesome. And having a real dancer work with the choreography would be really cool.
yeah.
But for unspecified reasons, Michael Jackson was no longer attached to this.
For unspecified reasons,
For-
around 1994 or 1995.
All right. So Michael Jackson was no longer attached to this. So instead of the biggest pop star in the world, they got Randy Newman and Scott Bakula.
Yeah. Scott Bakula does a great job
Yeah,
in this movie.
He's a singer. He's done Broadway. He's a great actor. Apparently, he's a great voice actor too. He does a lovely job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for finding that.
Yeah.
Little
So yeah, instead of a pop movie, it is a send up of old Hollywood by Randy Newman.
Right. Which seems like that was still part of the plot. It's confusing to me
unclear.
what this would have been with Michael Jackson.
Kate, do you want to set me a cookie timer?
I sure do.
I've got some character names up here so that I can.
Oh, that would have been a great idea for me.
Yeah.
Good work. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Go.
All right. Danny Cat is our star. Danny comes from Kokomo, Indiana. He arrives in Hollywood and he's got a 5-day plan to become a famous star. First thing he does is he walks into a talent agent's office and he's like, "Yo, cast me in something. Surprisingly enough, he gets cast in something. It's Noah's Ark, or it's a Noah's Ark story featuring Darla Dimple, who's kind of a Shirley Temple type, who has a crazy bad attitude. She is not nice. So Danny Cat gets on the set. He's there with Sawyer, who is a secretary at the talent agency, and she is like, does not want to be acting in this. Oh my God. I am so low on time.
Yep.
Cool. Danny Cat tries to act, but they just want him to say meow. So he gets kicked off the thing, or he gets like assaulted, basically. They do the thing, and then Danny Cat's like, yo, y'all, we got to get together and make music and become actors like we want to be. And they're like, nah, animals can't act, because the humans are like, nah, animals don't act. They're not leads. They're just background. So he like rallies around all these other animals, and they do like a big number, and it's really fun. And he's got this like elephant man who's Wooly the mammoth, but he's not a mammoth. So what? Anyway, he's played by John Rhys Davies, and he plays the piano. So anyway, they do this whole big dance number, and they have this plan where they are going to get everyone together and do music at the end of the premiere so that everyone can see that they are really talented. Also, there's a whole subplot where Darla Dimples is evil and tries to get the cat out of Hollywood. Time.
Turns out saying all the character names takes up too much time.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt me.
So in general, yeah, like Darla's trying to undermine their efforts.
Yeah,
'cause
she doesn't.
wants to continue to be the star of everything.
Right.
And then the animals prove her wrong.
Yeah.
First with a mishap, because they try to do a Noah's Ark dance scene and they flood the whole lot.
Yeah.
And then second at that premiere where they kind of put it together ad hocly, and then everyone applauds for them. Oh, because cats do dance.
Wait, what?
Cats do dance.
Oh my God.
And Darla's kicked out of the business.
That really throws me, because the title says that cats don't dance.
You would think it's playing with your expectations is what it's doing.
That's a way to
Just really,
subverting my expectations.
really good. I mean, that's probably why no one saw this movie, right? They're like, well, cats don't dance. That's
Yeah.
nothing new.
I mean,
I knew that before I came in
I
here.
could see cats not dancing at home, I guess.
So, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait till our ending segments, but that might just be an easy tweet. Call it Cats Do Dance.
Yeah,
and
or like, check out this cat dancing.
triple the box office.
Also, it's Scott Bakula. That's pretty cool.
Scott Bakula the cat.
That's the new title.
I didn't realize his name was Danny Cat.
Yeah.
That's like Danny Cat, Sawyer Cat, but they're not related. They're just cats.
Well, they're
So,
all
like,
named.
just-
They are all named cat, lion, goat, whatever.
Yeah, except for Darla Dimple.
Well, she's not a.
She's not a dimple.
She's not a animal.
Yeah.
Animals are named, like you are named Kate Phillips because one of your parents or grandparents or whatever was a Philip.
Yeah. Cool.
What's up? So yeah, this movie. Full. Let's go. Full disclosure: we watched this over the span of 2 days.
Yeah.
There are some. There is a lot that I really like about this movie.
Yes.
The first 15 minutes is not that.
Not part of that. So we recently did an episode. If you're following chronologically, it was our most recent one on Emperor's New Groove.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, we talked briefly about how the score composer, Mark Shaman, was fired from the picture for writing a score that they found was too busy and you couldn't pay attention.
Too busy, too cartoony, too distracting.
Yeah. You couldn't pay attention to the dialogue or anything that's going on. And, like, there's an opening song in Cats Don't Dance, which is really lovely. Like,
Yeah.
It's a great Randy Newman song. And then after that, about 5 minutes into it, we look at each other and go, oh, this is what Mark Shaman was fired for.
Yeah.
We're experiencing that now.
And it kind of lets up. But there's a scene, the first
rough,
scene
though.
where the cat, Danny Cat specifically,
Cat.
gets off the bus and goes into the talent agent's office. It's like rapid fire conversation over that. And it's so hard to, okay, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's obnoxious.
Yes. And it's so hard to know what to pay attention to, because that, if it was like just action over that, it'd be fine. But it's rapid fire conversations.
And you're meeting multiple other characters, and
there's all this important information.
Yeah, you're getting a setup for the rest of the plot.
And like if the rest of the movie was like that, I would have watched it alone. Kate was not having.
It was at the end of a teaching day, and it's
Yeah.
remote teaching, so I've been like staring at a screen and getting a lot of sensory input all day. We had to turn it off after. I had to turn it off after 15 minutes and say, let's come back to this later. And then we did, and like you said, it eased up.
Yeah, and the movie, I think, I said it to you, like, this isn't necessarily a compliment, but this movie gets better as it goes along.
It does, yeah.
Like, by the end, I'm kind of into it. At the beginning, I'm like, I don't know what this is.
What did you think of the songs in general? So that score eventually goes away. Mm-hmm. And like, what did you think of the Randy Newman songs?
Like, mainly really good. So we had the intro song, where I don't know what it's called, where the cat like shows up, and that was great. We've got the big dance number out in the alley, which is great.
Yeah, where like the animal extras kind of get their mojo back.
Yeah.
Their will to dance.
Was it Natalie Cole?
Natalie Cole is
sings
the
a
singing
song
voice
that's
of
pretty good.
Girl Cat. Yeah.
And that I think was the Randy Newman-iest song.
Yeah, I mean the beginning, that opening song was Randy. It was like very clearly Randy Newman doing old Hollywood.
Yeah.
Kind of like the.
What was was Natalie Cole's the one that sounded weirdly similar to the Randy Newman Disney movie with an alligator and a firefly?
Oh, The Princess and the Frog. No, there was a dance number. Was it maybe the end? Yeah, it was the finale. That sounded like it had shades of Almost There.
But I would say my favorite song was the Darla Dimples. She did one song called Big and Loud, where she's like encouraging, like she's trying to trick Danny Cat, and she's encouraging him to be big and loud. And then he leaves, and then she has a reprise.
It's like a demonic
like
reprise.
The evil version of that first song, and I love that so much.
It's good. Randy Newman does good villain reprises.
I mean, just like in Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
Where Facilier has a great song, and then the reprise is even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a better. As soon as like, did we hear it or did we like see his name first in the opening, and we're like, oh, it's a Randy Newman musical. Like, let's see how this goes.
I knew it from reading about the production.
I entered it tentatively, but like, he does a good job.
Yeah.
Like, I think his songs. I don't know, like Princess and the Frog just has, in general, higher production values, so it's kind of hard to compare it. But
Right.
I think these songs, I don't know, they tell the story in interesting ways.
And this, yes, that's true. I also just wanted to call out Cats Don't Dance for having a ridiculous cast. Like, not only, like, it's Scott Bakula, who's kind of like, oh, it's the Quantum Leap guy. But like, Jean Rhys Davies, who is, I think still has some credibility at the time Cats Don't Dance comes out. Renee Auberjonois, who is great in every voice role he's in. Hal Holbrook and George Kennedy. And of course, Don Knotts, who sounds like he's doing a voice so that he doesn't sound like Don Knotts.
He sounds like he's doing a bad Don Knotts impression.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
It's wild that he is actually in it. Yeah, arguably their two biggest stars in this. I can't speak for Scott Bakula in 1997, but like
Right.
Kathy Najimy and Don Knotts are their two like big names. I guess Natalie Cole, but they're given these like bit parts.
Yeah.
They're not, and then Yeah, and then I don't recognize the other names of anyone but Scott Bakula.
But like a ridiculously talented cast and some like older Hollywood, like Hal Holbrook, which is cool.
Yeah, I guess Hal Holbrook is a name.
But yeah, really interesting. And I guess Oliver and Company had pretty good.
Oliver and Company had a good cast too, and well, I don't know. We're kind of talking about music and cast right now. What do you want to?
Yeah, sorry. You tell me.
Well, Oliver and Company's cast. Let's.
Yeah. So Oliver and Company. Oh my God. Fagin is played by
Dom DeLuise.
Tom DeLuise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so bad. Yeah. So we've got Dom DeLuise. We've got.
I like that Dom DeLuise is the first name you pick out of this cast.
Well, okay. We've got Billy Joel.
Yeah, I think Billy Joel is
Okay.
the name here.
Okay.
This is Billy Joel's one and only like acting role, and he does an amazing job.
He's great.
Like, I'm surprised that it is Billy Joel. Yeah, like it's some pop, like, you know, like that Pointer Sister is in there.
Yeah. But okay, so Joey Lawrence
Yeah.
from Blossom
Yeah.
plays Oliver. It's
Little
like
Joey
child
Lawrence.
Joey Lawrence. Cheech Marin or Cheech Marin.
Cheech Marin is so good.
Richard Mulligan, who plays the Great Dane. And then the one whose name I was trying to remember while I was fumbling with every other name is Robert Loggia, who plays the big bad. He's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good big bad.
It looks like Robert Loggia, and his voice is super villainous. Like, I feel like that's the same kind of casting as like Jeremy Irons, where it's like, well, let's just cast this guy that sounds evil, and we'll just give him the lines, and it'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a surprise Bette Midler.
A surprise Bette Midler.
Yeah, doing a part that seems to be under her pay grade at this point in time. Like, I wonder if there's like a contracty thing that this was fulfilling,
Well,
because it's not as big of a part as a Bette Midler.
Bette Midler
would
was
want.
really
I don't
tied
know.
into Disney at this time, though.
I guess she did a bunch of Touchstone.
Because I don't know where Hocus Pocus falls, but
mid-90s, I think.
so yeah, the lottery ticket.
The lottery.
I mean,
Yeah.
legitimately though,
No, that's
she
true.
was like the first big star to have a movie produced on the MGM lot,
And the only.
and the only, yeah, probably. But so
MGM
Bette
Studios
Midler
at
at this
Disney
time
World.
is very tied to Disney. Mm-hmm. So I
Yeah,
think,
I guess it makes sense.
yeah. I wonder if
so-
she signed like a 3-picture deal or something.
Yeah. It's a little confusing, though, because with Bette Midler's character in there, this movie kind of has, like, 2 or 3 different villains.
Yeah.
Like, she's kind of the closest to the Darla Dimple of this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, like, someone has invaded her territory that she's ruled over.
Right.
And she wants them out. In that, the song that she gets, the perfect something.
Perfect Me or
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
Perfect.
perfect and
or,
you're not.
It's not a great song.
It's not a great song, but it's very similar to Big and Loud
Yeah.
in like its kind of preening nature and
Right.
just kind of like a big number for this one character. And that's kind of like these songs are, I think you said earlier when we were talking about it, they're SpongeBobbed together. Do you want to say what you mean by that?
Yeah, so the SpongeBob musical, which if you haven't seen it, try and see it,
good.
or at least listen to it. Like, surprisingly good. Nickelodeon did a live version of it, which was great. But it's SpongeBob on Broadway, which I don't know what you expect from that. I didn't expect much at all. And the music is done by like 10 different artists.
Like 20 different artists.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a song by like They Might Be Giants, and also there's a song by Aerosmith.
And yeah, like
And
Jennifer
the Plain
Nettles
White
and
Tea
yeah.
is it's just a really weird mix that somehow, and T.I.,
yeah.
right? Like this just, but it somehow works.
Yeah.
In the musical, it works. And Oliver and Company is kind of the same because it's Billy Joel.
Well, or someone writing for Billy Joel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis.
Oh, you mean the voices? Yeah.
I mean, the Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but Huey Lewis did not write his song.
Oh, who wrote Huey Lewis's song?
Oh, a little-known composer by the name of Howard Ashman.
Howard Ashman.
And another guy.
I think Howard Ashman.
The one who's not Barry Manilow. Is it Barry Mann?
Barry Mann,
Like,
yeah.
there are composers named
yeah,
Barry
and-
Mann and Barry Manilow.
And Barry Manilow wrote the Bette Midler song,
The Bette
right?
Midler song, yeah.
But, yeah, who's this Howard Ashman guy?
Well, it's interesting you asked. They kind of hired him just for this one song, the opening song, the Once Upon a Time in New York City, in Oliver and Company. And then, they liked what he was doing, so he got to work on the next project, something about a mermaid. And
Just a little project.
it went pretty well for him. He brought in his friend named Alan on that project.
Oh, Alan Menken.
Yeah, you haven't heard of him.
Okay.
He's not as big as Stephen Schwartz,
No.
but
So, yeah, this was Howard Ashman and thereby Ashman and Menken's, like, entree into Disney.
yeah,
If
this is where it starts.
And interestingly, David Geffen recommended him to Katzenberger.
Jeffrey Katzenberg.
So the K and the G of DreamWorks SKG found and employed Howard Ashman, who would then revolutionize Disney movies.
Yes.
Really neat stuff.
Excellently neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say the one nitpick that I have of Howard Ashman's work here is that this song, Once Upon a Time in New York City, addresses Oliver by name. Right? It's like, Oliver, don't you worry, or Oliver, don't be scared.
Oliver, don't be scared.
Yeah.
Oliver, don't be scared. That doesn't bother me because it is not sung by a character.
It's third person omniscient.
It is a, what do you call it? Entrance song.
Prologue? Narration?
Yeah.
Exposition?
What's the song that plays over the credits called? Like a
Theme song?
prelogue?
I just said prologue.
Well, I'm not looking for prologue.
What are you looking for?
I don't know. Overture, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, I guess it is kind of like an overture.
Like, it's kind of like, hey, we're introducing the general themes.
Uh-huh.
We're going to say, just like Alice in Wonderland, it's like,
Yeah, well, I don't like that song either.
I know you don't, but I do.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Yeah. It's not Ashman's fault that he was working off bad information, because the cat does not get named until he meets Jenny,
Oh.
who names him Oliver, because
Yeah.
he doesn't have a name up to that point.
Yeah.
Howard didn't know that. It's not his fault.
You don't actually know that Oliver doesn't have a name.
Wait, just Jenny guessed correctly?
Yeah.
Is that what we're made to believe?
That
All right.
might be correct.
Okay.
Jenny obviously couldn't talk to Oliver.
Right. That's, in this movie, animals and humans cannot talk to each other. Is that correct?
That's our assumption. They
Yeah.
never do.
They never do.
We never really see.
Yeah, you hear like barks and meows,
Yeah.
right, from the human perspective.
I think so. Like when a human is on screen, I think we mainly hear barks and meows. But I don't think it's like ever explicit. I think
Right.
mainly just when the animals talk, there doesn't happen to be a human around.
Right.
And like the animals are smart and they can clearly listen to humans because Fagin will tell them to do things and they'll do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't directly communicate the other way.
I was going to
around.
say, do they communicate with Fagin? No. When he goes to read them a story, they're just kind of like pulling up furniture and stuff, but they're
Yeah.
not saying like, ooh, read us this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Whereas in Cats Don't Dance, they're kind of put on the same plane, right? They all walk on 2 feet and
Yeah.
they can have conversations with each other.
they're like a lower caste.
Right. Cast with an E.
Cast with an E. Like they're looked down upon, but they are able to communicate with you like in every way but the fact that they are technically animals, they're like the same as humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's interesting because the humans are more or less the villains in this movie.
Yeah.
At the very least, they're not really working in the interest. I guess that agent is a human.
There's a weird thing that Cats Don't Dance does. Cats Don't Dance does.
Oh.
There's an interesting thing this movie does where it seems like it's trying to be about racism
or like workers' rights, like
classism.
unionism.
Because the whole thing is that animals cannot be stars of movies. They're only cast as like, specifically they're only cast as animals who say meow or woof or whatever. They
Right.
don't have
Right.
they don't talk in the movies.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
It's like reverse Wicked.
sure.
Okay.
It seems like it's supposed to be an allegory of some sort, but it's not clear what, and it doesn't totally work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all. It has a little bit of that Zootopia-ness where it's like, okay, so if you're saying that, like,
Yeah,
if this is like a racial thing, then the race is being
You poke out a little bit and the
they're
conceit falls apart.
animals, or what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in Oliver and Company, because there are humans and there are animals who more or less behave like animals if they had their own kind of sentient world, which who knows, I guess.
I
The
know.
humans are more representative of different castes because
Yeah.
Fagin is part of the lower class with Dodger and Tito and all those guys, whereas Jenny and her butler and family and the big bad are, well, the big bad is like a mobster.
Yeah, but he's got a big fancy car.
Yeah. They're part of higher classes and there's tensions
Yeah.
with that. And yeah, it's neat how they do that. There's kind of human and animal counterparts to each of these classes. It reminds me of like Aristocats and 101 Dalmatians in that way, that there's kind of like analogs in both
Yeah.
worlds.
Yeah, like your owner determines your class, which is interesting. And it's interesting that the pets kind of represent that, kind of take on the personalities of their owners.
Or at least their class, right? Because
Right.
Jenny is not stuck up like Georgette the dog.
Yeah, is Georgette Jenny's dog though?
Georgette's, yeah, I guess
I
the
feel like
family dog.
Georgette is the parents' dog.
Yeah.
Because she's a show dog. She's
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jenny's
She's
not
got
taking her
ribbons
dog
and
to
stuff.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So do you consider Oliver a class traitor?
I mean,
Is the real question of Oliver and Company.
yeah, that is the real question. No, I think Georgette is, I think, the class traitor in Oliver and Company, but in like a good way.
Ah.
And she, at first, rejects Oliver. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want him in the house because it's Jenny, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Penny,
Not Penny,
who this character is somewhat based on from The Rescuers.
but Jenny. Jenny is like pays attention to Oliver and not to Georgette, but Georgette is like, I'm the star, right? It's like a new baby coming into the house,
Right.
sort of thing. But eventually Georgette is like, you know what, y'all are okay, you're good in my book, and she like hangs out with them, and she's maybe dating Tito.
Well, she is for a while. Yeah, that's a confusing little subplot. And then it ends up with her being like nagging, like
Oh yeah.
the what is it, the henpeck or the
Yeah.
nag, and so
But
he
it's-
escapes.
So it's a little interesting, but yeah, I don't think Oliver himself is a class traitor. He's just a cat trying to belong to a family and not like they're trying to get out of the gang life.
Yeah, gang war.
Yeah, Tito does yell gang war.
Tito
at
yells.
one point.
Tito is my he reminds me of the bat in Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah.
This like kind of unexpectedly like awesome character who
Yeah.
like kind of fits in with the movie, but also doesn't super.
If only they would have like they used some of the animation from Oliver in Lion King. It would have been great if they could have used the voice actor
Some
who
of the
did
voice
Tito.
talent. Yes, they do. Who would have thought?
Yeah,
Cheech and Chong, Disney and Pixar favorites.
absolutely.
Yeah. It's neat. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he wants a family. I really like his like scrappy poor dog family though. All
Yeah.
those dogs are really nice. I kind of feel bad that they lose Oliver to this like rich girl just because like I don't know, she can like feed him and stuff. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
bad for them because they treated him like a family. They did. They showed him the streets of gold. Every boulevard is a Miracle Mile.
They were kind of jerks.
You could take the town and take it with style.
They're on and off kind of jerks to him.
Yeah, they do just kind of use him for their like
Yeah.
stealing schemes. But
Yeah.
that's how to get by.
Yeah.
Why
Or
should
you-
they worry?
Why should they care? Something's. It's just
The
bebopulation.
lyrics change every time. He's got street savoir-faire.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, all right.
Yes. Tell me more.
Oliver does not become a class traitor. I guess we've concluded.
Yeah.
Does Danny end up better than he started? Like, right? These are, as Christopher mentions, these are kind of cats that are new to a big city,
Yeah.
new to a community in some way. Do they, like, Danny is more of an activist, right? He's an organizer of his community. Oliver just kind of goes with the flow.
Yeah. But in fairness, Oliver is a kitten.
That is true.
He's not at that level.
His
yeah.
last name is not Cat yet.
No.
So
It's
he's
just
a
Oliver,
kitten.
not Oliver Cat. Yeah, Danny, absolutely. Like, he organizes his workplace. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
He fights for the rights of his fellow animals.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. And in the end, like, is he better? Maybe. I think so. But more importantly, the rest of the world is better.
Yeah, he elevates his community.
Yeah, and he humiliated a child, so
Yeah,
That's good.
That's right.
yeah.
Well, and then you see that they make all those animal movies at the end, all
Yeah.
those bad pun animal movie posters.
No.
What?
They are not bad pun animal
Oh.
movies. They're just movies.
Some of them have changed titles, right?
No.
No.
Not
What are some examples? So
Not
after
really.
the finale where all the animals put on a show for this unsuspecting audience of humans and they love it, you kind of see a montage at the end that shows like, oh, finally these animals get to star in the pictures. And it's like, what? What are some of the examples of the movie
Grumpy
posters?
Old Men?
Yeah. They didn't change that? It wasn't like grumpy old...
Not to my I don't believe so.
Huh.
I remember being shocked that it was just like Lethal Weapon,
Yeah, it was just like
RoboCop.
Warner Brother movies.
But instead of a guy, it's a fish or something.
Yeah.
It was very it should have been, if that was over the credits, it would have been fine.
Yeah, but it
the
was
fact that it was before the
before the
credits
credits was a little much.
was a shame.
Do you think Grumpy Old Men would be better with a goat as one of the leads?
Well, it has a goat as one of the leads. I'd describe Jack Lemmon as one of the greatest of all time. Actually, Walter Matthau as well.
Yeah, I was
He's
going to
got
say
two
Walter
goats.
Matthau's there too.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
Walter Matthau, known probably best for Hello Dolly, the movie.
Well, you tried. Back to Bette Midler, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of Bette Midler, who was in Hello Dolly at some point,
She was.
we did not see that.
No. Well, she appeared on a stage where Hello Dolly was happening. It sounds like that was more the case.
I feel like we're getting a little too catty.
Oh. Also, maybe a little too Hollywood Broadway insidery. Kind of like, so Cats Don't Dance
Yeah.
not only has this movie poster thing, but it does the thing that Animaniacs loves to do, which is like
And Warner Brothers animation in general.
is throw out a bunch of caricatures of Hollywood movie stars from the 40s and 50s in 1997 in a children's movie.
Which, like, I wasn't sure what the point was.
No, I'm never sure what the point of
Like-
them doing that is.
Like, I think it can be funny with the old animation.
Mm-hmm.
I do like it when Bugs Bunny runs into, and they're like very caricaturized and it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I loved it on Animaniacs. It kind of lost me here because it doesn't seem like it was done as a joke ever. Where like,
Well, they did a Laurel and Hardy. Didn't they do like a series of auditions, or I don't really even remember how they used it. They did it at the premiere of the Darla Dimple movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'd just walk out and they'd be like, James Cagney. And he'd be like, hi.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, Marilyn Monroe. And she'd be like, hi.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
It was weird. And they had a caricature artist that was credited
Yeah.
in the credits. So maybe they just had that guy on retainer and needed to use him for something.
Yeah.
Ah.
But there was also like at the beginning scene, like Danny like gets up on a ladder and finishes a marquee that says "Gone with the Wind." I'm like, okay, why? What are you trying to get the time and place across?
Yeah, is that what they're trying to do? Because this is like the 40s. Because if it's Shirley Temple, that checks out, right?
Yeah, but it's just there's some very strange. I will say in general, my biggest problem with Cats Don't Dance is that there is too much going on. Too much going on musically, too many like it's like there's an episode of Futurama where Zoidberg meets his uncle, Harold Zoid, who's like a kind of parody of Harold Lloyd.
I don't know who that is.
Well, he's an old silent movie director.
Okay.
Silent movie star. So anyway, he's this. So Harold Zoid is this old silent movie star and director, and he wants to make a talkie to get back on top of things. And so there's a scene where he's like directing, and he's like, "No, if you're in the background, you know this is a serious scene, but." You could still throw a pie. There could still be some funny business. Make sure something's going on. Make sure you're doing something. And like then the scene they show is like a very emotional scene, and everyone's like running and tripping and throwing pies in the background. And it just reminded me of many parts of this movie where I'm like, okay, you're trying to get something across, but like this penguin didn't need to drop a thing right here. We could have just gone.
This bus driver didn't need to sloppily eat a sandwich and spit his condiments everywhere.
Yeah.
While Danny Cat is figuring that he shouldn't leave, he
Yeah.
should stay and save all of his community. Like, it's an important scene.
My focus is being pulled every which way. And some scenes, they show a lot of restraint.
Yeah.
And some scenes, they don't.
Yeah.
By
I
the
think
way,
it's-
can we talk about that bus driver real quick?
Sure.
Who's that bus driver?
That bus driver is... Oh, now I forgot.
Buster Poindexter.
Yeah,
Woo!
it is Buster Poindexter.
Love Buster Poindexter.
Yeah. He didn't break into song, which I appreciated. Yeah, and that's, I think... So I guess, like... So both of these movies kind of underperformed in different ways, right? Like, Oliver and Company did better than, like, Black Cauldron,
Sure.
which is, like, almost immediately before it. But why... And I think there's a lot of cult love for Oliver and Company.
Yeah.
But it's not... I mean, Disney doesn't treat it like The Little Mermaid or anything
No.
like that. So what are these movies missing, or what are we missing as like an audience, or what is
Yeah.
the marketing missing? Because so like starting with Cats Don't Dance, it seems like what you're talking about at least resonates with me as the reason this movie maybe didn't make that jump into something that people wanted to see, because it actually has some really strong plot bones and like emotional arcs. This conceit of this like child star being the villain because she doesn't want animals to take away the focus is really funny and really brilliant. And she's got moments of being like a truly terrifying villain, but she's so hammy in other scenes that I don't like. I think I said to you, I'm like, I want to like my villain.
Yeah.
I really like Scar.
She has
He's
like
terrifying, but I love him.
She has like a Miss Piggy vibe.
Yes.
Where it's just like too much. Her henchman though, Max, very likable.
Yeah.
Right?
Just a giant oaf.
Just a giant dude that says like, "Yes, Mr. Bruce." Just like very, very
Voiced by director Mark Dindal,
Yeah.
who also directed Emperor's New Groove.
yes.
He learned from this movie's score when
Yeah.
firing Mark Shaman.
Yeah. But yeah, like Max is a great character.
Max is great.
Darla Dimples is too much. Yeah.
But it's good bones. And like this idea of a cat coming out, like this, small town cat coming
Yeah.
out thinking he's going to be a big star, realizing that there are these limitations, and then organizing everyone, and like Christopher said too, like realizing it's about these friendships and these bonds that make them stronger together.
Yeah.
Really great idea for a movie. And I, like you said, in some scenes it's executed really well. And then other scenes you just lose the thread because
Yeah.
there's so much sensory and animation input.
And this is like a Turner animation, right? But
It is, mm-hmm.
it feels like it suffers from you in particular don't care for Warner Brothers animation
I
aside
do
from
not,
like Pinky
no.
and the Brain.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is like got that similar vibe?
It's very broad,
Yeah.
right? We watched actually a really great video kind of breaking down some of the animation in this
Oh yeah,
movie
we'll link that out
by a guy named Mark Hendry, who's an animator. And it was interesting seeing him break down, like, these characters are intentionally broad. Like, not only is it kind of this Warner Brothers vibe, but it's the 40s and 50s kind of vaudevillian vibe to it. And so I think there's just some subconscious and like connotative things that happen in my brain when I see these kind of broadly animated creatures that look like they belong in Looney Tunes or Animaniacs. My brain says, oh, I don't have to pay attention to the emotional content here. It's just silly and slapstick.
Yeah.
So for me, that's probably on a second viewing, I might be able to better assess what this movie is about and all of that. But yeah, I think that I think they had some really cool things going on, and the animation style doesn't help it.
Right.
But sometimes it's really funny, like that Max, or like the scene where they're fighting on her balloon at the end.
Yeah,
like
the
that
giant Darla Dimples balloon.
Yeah.
They're having a fight on the balloon, and I was like, oh, it's Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Old Hollywood. We got this giant guy fighting another dude on a balloon. Like, we got like a Rocketeer scene. It's fun.
And like, does that work in a movie that's animated like Oliver and Company? Probably not. That probably looks really goofy. But at this point, we've already seen an arc flood an entire backlot of a Hollywood studio. Like, all of these insane things has happened. So this is like, oh yeah, this fits.
This is fine. Yeah. So why would you say? So that would be your stance, like kind of like why this didn't reach a broader audience. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a certain expectation of what an animated movie could do at this time, and it didn't meet it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd be curious to see like the trailer for this and what they thought they were advertising
and how they advertise, right? Like, without the channels like McDonald's Happy Meals and stuff, you only have trailers. And at that, I mean, Disney is too big of a monster at this point. So that's probably another reason too.
So what about Oliver and Company? Like, why do you think that didn't really strike a chord? Because it was a movie that I think held up really well.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to like scan for what is happening live action at this time. Like, certainly Splash, right? Because this is Eisner's first animated feature with the movie. Yeah. Eisner and Katzenberg, their first animated, and like one of Eisner's big things is Splash. So there's kind of this like whimsy happening in live action, but I don't think the musical is back yet.
Okay.
So I wonder if like the music is good here.
And it's a popular artist. Billy Joel is still pretty hot at the time.
Yeah, Billy Joel is like peak Billy Joel at this time. But I mean, for me, one of the reasons it's not quite Renaissance level is that the songs are like approaching musical theater, but not quite there. Like, the characters sing them for the most part, but they're not really getting you from a point A to a point B by the end of the song. And Little Mermaid comes along and basically is a one-act Broadway musical.
Right.
And I think that catches people attention, like, oh, not only has this not been done before, but this is really well done. Whereas Oliver, the music, besides being catchy and catchy and very listenable, doesn't necessarily take its scenes and go like, whoa, wow, that's awesome. But that would be more of a reason that it wouldn't fly like during the Renaissance than before. Yeah,
I think I would argue that even more than the music, it's like the character design. Because Disney had a string of like,
Yeah.
And I think Oliver looks really good. I think
The character Oliver,
the
yeah.
character Oliver and the character Dodger looks really good.
And Tito, surprisingly.
And Tito.
Yeah.
But I think Dodger and Tito and the rest of the dogs look old Disney. I think Fagin looks very like 70s
He belongs in
Disney.
the Rescuers, yeah.
Like he looks a little gross. Everything's a little grungy.
There's less cleanup work is like one of the visually
Yeah, I mean,
salient features.
animation wise, yeah, there were
Yeah.
some issues. But like, I think the character design looks the same or like kind of regressive.
Yeah.
Whereas Little Mermaid, it's like you still recognize it as Disney.
But they more or less hit a reset.
Yeah, but
on
they
character design.
They made some strong changes to what character design was.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, to me, is like why I can look at Oliver and come and be like, oh yeah, that's a Disney movie. Maybe I'll see that at some point.
Because
look at
in
Little Mermaid and be
1988,
like-
Disney movie means, okay, like
Yeah.
the old ones are really good.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Little Mermaid, you look and go, oh, that doesn't look like anything I've seen before. Let's go. So,
I also wonder if, so this came out the same day as The Land Before Time,
yeah,
which
which
we mentioned.
obviously hurt it.
Yeah, and it does, like, The Land Before Time is about a more epic, like, I think an argument can be made that Oliver and Company is actually like a better executed movie.
Okay.
I know you wouldn't make the argument.
I just said okay.
But like The Land Before Time is about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
We haven't had a dinosaur movie yet.
It is about dinosaurs. It's not a musical, which
No.
feels like old fashioned. Mm-hmm. It's darker. It's more serious. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like we've had cats and dogs movies before. That's kind of what Disney does now.
We've had a lot of cats
We've had
and dogs
a lot
movies.
of cats and dogs movies. So
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just that too. Like we've already kind of seen this movie versus
Yeah,
this
we've
other
had
thing.
Aristocrats and Lady and the Tramp and The Fox and the Hound.
And 101 Dalmatians. Yeah.
And yeah. So anyway, Kate,
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
It's time for the final cut.
I think it's time.
Let's do it.
What's a scene that you would like to shout out? Because that's our first segment on
Sure.
the final cut. What's
Yeah.
a scene that
Final
you would...
cut, by the way, is a series of segments. Go. What's a scene that I would like to shout out from what, Kate?
Chronological order, Oliver and Company.
Can we do the other one first?
Cats Don't Dance.
Good,
Reverse
'cause
chronological order.
I had one ready for Cats Don't Dance.
Great.
The back alley dance where
Nice.
Danny Cat is getting everyone all hyped up and like, hey, remember you're a performer and you love this and there's a reason. The characters go from like as they start dancing, as they become inspired, the characters go from kind of a muted color palette to a more saturated
Yeah.
color palette. They get like a little brighter and a little more colorful. And it's I wish it was like a little bit more subtle. But I loved it. I loved it.
It's a neat little like Pleasantville effect.
Yeah. And especially when Sawyer, otherwise known as Girl Cat,
That's about how much character she's given.
pretty much. But she not only gets like colorized, but she comes out of like a shadow and then comes into the light where she's muted.
Yeah.
And then she comes into the colorized.
And there's even an earlier scene that hints at that, but
Yeah.
it's not clear yet. So it just kind of looks like, why are you keeping this character half in shadow when she's the one of two characters talking right now?
yeah.
So yeah,
And the shadow like represents that like she's a amazing dancer and singer and actress,
but she's jaded. She's
and she's hiding that. It's like one of those things this movie does brilliantly.
yeah.
Like, and then the scene before it and the scene after it are I'm sure like a little bit annoying, but like this scene, just brilliant, just
Yeah.
amazing. What about you, Kate?
I am gonna go for the scene where Danny Cat goes over to Darla Dimple's mansion. To does she call him over? Because she gets wind that like he's telling these cats and hippos that they can dance. I don't
Yeah.
like that. So he goes over, and you don't, as the audience, you don't know her whole deal yet. Like
Yeah.
you know she hates animals. You know that she's Miss Piggy, but you don't know what her plan is. And as she is kind of like sweet talking Danny and trying to get him to trust her, she is like doing all these sweet, like, oh, you're so talented, I can't believe it. And she is one by one picking these animal crackers out of a bowl and chomping the heads off of these animal crackers and just throwing the bodies down by Danny. And Danny is totally oblivious
Completely over his
to
head.
what's happening. And she gets like more vicious in her chomps every time. And by the, like, when she's kind of got him in for the kill, she picks up a cat from the animal bowl. It's, again, like you were saying,
there's like a little bit where she like goes to grab a cat and then she realizes like, oh, not doing that one.
not
like,
there yet.
Yeah.
It's, again,
great.
like, could it have been a little bit more subtle? Sure.
Yeah.
But it was a really nice touch, and whoever
Yeah.
came up with that
It was
that little
such
gimmick
great
for
business.
the scene
Yeah.
is really fun.
Yeah.
And it made me like kind of yearn for that fully fleshed out villain that could have been if they had
And
leaned a little less into the broad.
That's a great example of there is a lot going on in the scene. We've got the action of Darla Dimple eating the cookies, so we're not like just watching two people talk.
Right.
But the action ties in.
Supports what's happening.
Supports the thesis. It's great. It's
Yeah.
such a strong scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call, Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about for Oliver and Company?
So as I said before, I really like the Scrappy Dog family. They're all like
Scrappy Doo?
Scrappy Doo, his cousin Scooby Doo. No, like this kind of misfit island of dogs,
Yeah.
right? Dodger and Tito and the other ones I can't name because their character design looks too much like Walt Disney. When Fagin comes back and is kind of explaining to him like, I owe this guy money. We got to work harder tomorrow to help each other out and develop a new scheme. He does a routine with them, like their bedtime story ritual. And he sits down with a book and all the dogs, like Oliver has just gotten there. He's kind of overwhelmed by anything, but all the dogs are just like wrapped by this story, right? They like are so excited to hear it. They pull up his footstool. They pull up a lamp. They all like cuddle into him as he's reading this like picture book to the dogs. And it's such a sweet scene of kind of these rough around the edges dogs who you've just met and they're kind of suspicious of Oliver at first and you're not sure who these characters are, but it really establishes well the fact that they are a family, that they really care about each other at the end of the day, even though they're out for the hot dog on the street or whatever. And it really it's one of the reasons that I'm like, are you sure you want to stay with Jenny? Like,
Aww.
She's nice, but you can just, like, hang out with her on play dates. Like, you want to be part of this family, this bedtime story family.
Okay, well, you know what? My scene shout-out counters that.
Aha.
Yeah. There's an amazing little moment where...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do this. And,
No.
I don't even remember what comes right before it, but Jenny is, like, practicing piano. And she plays like a
I thought you were going to start singing over me. Sorry.
Nope.
I was laying it down for you.
She plays like a fairly simple piano melody, like a kid would, and then she starts singing a song, and the song's about like her and Oliver being together forever, and it's really sweet because it's obviously very cute that a kid is singing a song to this new kitten about how much she loves him, but also like the music is something that like a kid could play feasibly, and it works, and it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where simplicity really does the job best.
Which is why Oliver should stay with Jenny.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, they can have music together. He can like split his,
Nope.
every other weekend. Coincidentally, that song co-written by Rob Minkoff, co-director of The Lion King.
Boom.
So many ties here.
Yeah.
Who I think also was the one with the idea of Timon and Pumbaa doing a hula song.
Cool.
So musical callback, throwback, call forward.
Great.
Good scene. I like that scene
Yes. The musical call back / forward
too. Call
of
forward.
someone writing a song for two things.
Who's not a songwriter?
Oh, well, he is. He wrote two songs.
That's true.
So, songwriter.
I like that. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Oh.
Good. A Dick Ward.
Kate Phillips.
If you were going to crown an MVP across these two movies, who or what would be your most valuable per?
That's a really good question.
Doesn't have to be a cat.
It's not going to be a cat. It's going to be... Who is it going to be?
I know mine.
Really?
Yeah.
You do yours first.
Tito. I loved Tito. Like, Cheech Marin is so funny.
Tito is the Chihuahua.
Is the Cheech Marin
The like
Chihuahua.
overly aggressive Chihuahua. He's kind of like a chicken hawk. Played by Cheech Marin.
He's got, he's just got these, I think the most memorable, even over Dodger, of that little family unit. And he will just do background stuff that is hilarious. Like, he's got this, like, high-strung little dog energy, which is really fun. Like, I just love characters like that. It's kind of like the Bat. Like, he's just going to say stuff that comes to his mind. But little thing, like when the Dobermans come in, or when Oliver come in, all these dogs are scrambling like, oh no, an intruder, and he's just running in circles going, gang war. He goes down the street singing My Fair Lady when he falls in love with the Bette Midler dog. He I didn't realize that I just want to hear Cheech Marin singing a bunch of, what's the other Disney song he sings? Hi Ho, Hi Ho. Mm-hmm. I just want an album of him singing old Disney songs.
Yeah, he's a blast.
Delightful.
Yeah.
I just found him to be a character that really stuck with me, and I was always excited to see. So kudos to the animators, kudos to Cheech.
Yeah.
Obviously, they liked what he did because they hired him again.
So I want to give a shout out, like a runner up to Scott Bakula, who I think did an amazing job, sings beautifully, and did everything he could with what he had, and he did great. But my real shout out, my real MVP is Billy Joel. Not only a wonderful singer, but not an actor.
But he is an actor.
Acted like rings around Bette Midler. He was great.
Yeah.
Like, as Dodger, he's a blast in this film.
He's really fun.
I am never out of the film going like, oh, that's famous person Billy Joel. I'm just like, oh, look at Dodger.
Well, we had to look up. We're like, oh, I know Billy Joel did the singing voice, but who did the speak? Billy Joel.
It's Billy Joel. Yeah, he was great. And they like auditioned him.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's amazing.
Good
really
choice.
Weirdly good stunt casting. Like, oh, should we get a movie actor? How about this singer? And he did great.
Yeah.
I wish he had done more stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this might be the one character he has.
Yeah.
But he was great.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Kate, if you were going to cross over these two movies in some way, whether it be like some characters or some creatives or something, what would you cross over?
Well, first,
Yeah.
I'm going to take Georgette the dog and Darla Dimple and throw them in a vault with Miss Piggy.
Because you hate them.
Yeah, is that crossover enough?
That's not a crossover.
Or do I have to create something new, not just delete things?
You just, you need to cross things over,
right.
not just remove them.
All right. I want Max to have a better
Max, the big
employer.
monster guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Max is going to work for Jenny now. And he's going to be Jenny's got a nice butler or like caretaker, whatever he is, houseman.
Yeah.
But yeah, Max deserves someone better.
Yeah, and if Jenny had Max, she would never have been kidnapped by Robert Loggia.
That's true.
No.
Max is bigger than Robert Loggia.
He's very big.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I accept that. I am going to cross over Danny Katt into the world of Oliver and Company.
Okay.
And he's not necessarily in the movie, but he's performing at like Rockefeller Center or something. Because Danny Katt is a song and dance cat. He doesn't need to be in L.A. He doesn't need to be in Hollywood. He needs to be in New York City.
Yeah.
He needs to be on Broadway. So that's what I do. I cross over Danny Cat and put him on Broadway.
I mean, he's going to make more money as a movie cat, but
Look.
it's really, he's just got a song in his heart. It's not about the money for him.
Yeah, it's not about the money.
Yeah. Good. I
Yeah.
like that. I'd see that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd see a cat on Broadway. Like maybe even multiples.
Maybe just one.
Maybe just
like,
one
maybe
cat?
just one.
Like, you
and
don't wanna
maybe
see a
he
plural.
wouldn't say his name at the beginning of his song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Dick, I think it might be time for the final
Final?
cut.
Cut.
Yeah. I think it might be time.
Okay, cool.
Which means
What does it mean?
we're going to take each of these movies
No.
and determine
What?
whether we would re-release
As is.
the movie as
Yeah.
is, whether we would give it a special edition of some sort,
Ooh.
either a different, like an alternate version of the film
Mm-hmm.
or an alternate medium for the project.
The one thing we don't do is say, I'd like to put it in a museum.
That's not true.
Well, that's...
Or option number 3 is to throw it in the vault along
Yeah.
with Miss Piggy, Georgette, and Darla Dimples.
None of those are in the vault.
Well, I put them there.
They're not
I think
there.
you missed that.
I rescued them. Kate,
Uh-huh.
let's start chronologically. Cats don't dance. Do you throw it in the vault? Do you special edition it? Or do you re-release as is for the world to enjoy?
I think that there is...
I can tell when you're really trying because you talk very slowly to give yourself time to form the correct sentence.
Let's make this into... No, let's do a remake,
Okay.
honestly.
Like remake?
Like a remake, because one of the things that we were talking about when we saw this movie is how it might be better as a Roger Rabbit style with the animated, with the animals being animated and the humans being human, like live action human. And I think there'd be a case for that. Like, I wouldn't want to see a fully 3D, I mean, because all the movies are CGI, right? Now, but I wouldn't want to see this just made CGI, but
you want to see like a Space Jam,
like
Roger
a Sonic,
Rabbit.
like a,
Yeah.
because I think you would then, with that, kind of de-broaden what you can. You would fix the score,
Yeah.
and not have it run under the first 15 minutes of the movie nonstop. But yeah, I think this has really good bones, and I think it could be a really fantastic movie that for me, it doesn't quite get there yet.
Yeah.
But I want this story to go somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to special edition this too.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I really like what you said because the idea, I think one of the big issues with this movie is that every character is super animated. Mm-hmm. And it kind of suffers from the idea like, oh, if I animate it more, it's better.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a problem. So I like the idea of bringing humans into it. But what I want to do is I want to take this movie. I want to add 10 minutes to it. And I said this before. I want to add 10 minutes to it and not add any dialogue or scenes. I just want there to be more breath in every scene of this movie.
This is fair.
Just give it another, like, maybe even 5. Just like another 5 or 10 minutes. Just extend every scene by a couple of seconds. Let it breathe, especially that first scene, which I get what they're going for, but it's just too much. Just let the whole thing breathe a little bit more, and I think you've got a better movie. I think also we need one character to be a straight man.
Yeah.
There's not a single straight man. Like, the closest is Sawyer.
The girl cat.
Yeah, but if you're like, she really only talks to Danny, like, Danny could be a straighter character.
Yeah.
Like a less active character. But like Darla is so much. And like Max is very stationary, but he's a giant monster man. So yeah, there needs to be a straight character for Danny to play off of or something.
Yeah.
Because I think Darla only works with Max.
Yes.
If Max wasn't there, it'd just be
It'd
intolerable.
just be insane. Yeah.
So yeah, like there needs to be someone a little straighter.
Yeah.
So yeah, special edition.
Nice.
Okay, what about Oliver and wait for it, Company?
I think re-release. It would just be fun to see this again and have more people
Yeah.
know it, because I think it works really well and it
Yeah.
holds attention, and it deserves to be seen.
Nice.
What about you?
I special edition this.
Okay.
I do two things.
You've got ideas. Good.
Well, one, we talked about how there are some scenes where clearly the budget wasn't there. Because there's like a scene outside of Georgette's window, right? Like Georgette's doing her song,
Yeah.
and then we see, I think it's like
These, like,
Tito,
doggy suitors.
there's just, random dogs. And they've got like these rough outlines,
Yeah.
and the color is not as good. Like, it was clearly just kind of like rushed in there.
Yeah.
Like maybe they were replacing a scene or something, but there were some moments of rough animation. So one, I'd like to clean those up.
Okay.
Two, I think the character of Georgette is okay. I
Yeah.
think she's okay, but I don't think Bette Midler is great in this. So I would like to replace her with, say, a Bernadette Peters or a
Bernadette Peters should be this dog.
Bernadette Peters would be great.
Oh my gosh! Why isn't this dog Bernadette Peters?
Or oh my God, what's her name from from like all the Mel Brooks movies?
Madeline Kahn.
Madeline Kahn would be great. And Galinda,
Kristen Chenoweth.
Kristen Chenoweth would be great. Thank you for helping
You're on
me
a good
with.
names run right now.
I'm bad at names anyway, but today is just.
Yeah, Bette Midler. I mean, so that's one of the reasons that I think this might be some kind of contract fulfilling thing. Because, like, she is phoning it in. Like,
she's not trying.
and I'm not the biggest fan of Bette Midler
No.
just as a person. I think I just.
None of us are big
not a
fans
fan.
of Bette Midler.
But, like, I love her in Hocus Pocus. Like, she's really great when she's, like, broad and
She's
over the top.
brought her
and,
A
like,
game, yeah.
Yeah. But this is not her A game.
No, it
Yeah.
is not. Yeah, so that's what I like to see.
Yeah.
No.
Hey,
Oh man, is that it?
that's it.
This was fun.
We final cutted it.
So, Kate, I have a question. You know what? First, I would like to say thank you to Christopher
Yeah.
for sending this in.
What a great suggestion.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. We saw a movie that we would never have seen otherwise.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes, probably. Got the hiccups now.
You sure do.
That's happening on our podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So I'd like to say thanks for sending this in. And if anyone else wants to send in suggestions, you can do so. Cellmatespodcast@gmail.com. Cellmates Podcast on Twitter and Facebook. And you can also go to cellmatespodcast.com. There's not much there.
Yeah. And you know, as you're suggesting things for us, you can suggest a pairing, as Christopher did. But if you just have one movie that you really want us to see, we have resources like Google, and we can look up
figure
a
it out.
pairing.
Yeah.
So really just anything. We'd love hearing ideas, and this year we've gotten a lot of really great ideas.
A lot of
that
great suggestions. And
have
we
made
have,
for awesome episodes.
I think we still have like one suggestion.
We've
episode
got
coming
several,
up,
but yeah.
a couple suggestions.
Yeah.
We're trying. There's a lot of great suggestions.
So thank
It's a
you.
lot
And
of
thank
fun.
you for listening.
Yeah.
Also, that's great that
Yeah.
we're not just recording into the void.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we have fun doing also.
That's also true.
So, Kate, do you want to talk a little bit about? You've told me this is like Meowth.
Meowth, cat, Meowth, the
Cat Meowth.
the Meowth,
Yeah.
cat Meowth.
So what
Yeah.
is that? So I'm trying to figure it
Well,
out because
When we had Mouse
we
Month,
saw Oliver and Company. We saw Cats Don't Dance.
right?
We've already done some other cat movies that I'd be thinking of. So what
Yeah. Well,
do you have in mind here?
it would be interesting, Dick, if we were to like, I don't know, have like cats that were still animated because we're an animated movie podcast,
Right, like fully animated movies.
But like, I don't know, some of these cats seemed like, I don't know, how would you describe them? Like smooth? Some of the cats in these movies are like a little bit too smooth.
Let me ask you this question, because I don't want you to tell me. I just want to kind of
Yeah.
guess. Can they see in the dark?
Well, they're blind when they're born.
Okay. Can they look at a king?
When he's sitting on
Can they sit on his throne?
a rock.
Okay. Cute. So yeah, we're going to be talking about two movies.
Two technically animated,
Fully animated movies.
mostly animated movies.
Even though one of them is referred to the live action version of a classic
But
movie.
it is not. But then when they talk about numbers, they call it their most successful animated movie of all
It's
time.
very confusing.
Anyway,
There-
two animated movies about characters who are cats and technically look kind of like cats.
Yeah. If you don't get it yet, there's a Jason Derulo and a Beyonce. Figure it out. Watch these movies.
Meow, meow.
Have some drinks.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Yeah. Or whatever your imbibation of choice is.
It's either going to be my most favorite or least favorite episode to record
I think it's
of
gonna
all
be both.
time. Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it can be both.
So look forward to that. We'll be coming at you in another week or two.
This cat meow.
However we do it. This
Yeah.
cat meow. For Soulmates Podcast, I am Dick Ward.
I'm Kate Phillips.
Oh, hi. Welcome, Kate.
Meow meow.
Yow.
The 11 minutes of Oliver and Company were computer generated, such as the skyscrapers, taxi cabs, trains, Fagin's scooter cart, and the climactic subway chase. Oh yeah, remember that subway chase?
Sorry, did you say fig and scooter cart?
Fagin's scooter cart.
Oh, that makes more sense. Mm-hmm. I wanted a cart full of figs and scooters.
Yeah, right?
Scooters. Scooters.